The Ministry of Works and Housing has launched the National Rental Assistance Scheme (NRAS). The National Rental Assistance Scheme (NRAS) is a residential in Ghana which has been on the increasing trend for the past 2 decades. This is as a result of the high demand for affordable rental properties. The problem is compounded by an uncompromising demand of landlords to collect a year or 2 years of prepaid rent from potential tenants. Research has shown that only 5% of Ghana's population can acquire their own homes without any form of assistance, with 60% requiring support that is facilitated by the state to access housing, whilst 35% will require additional direct support before they can have access to the housing. The assistance required by the households falling into the 60% band comes in the form of supportive regulations and competitively priced mortgages, whereas the lower 35% band needs subsidies in addition. However, for years, the focus has remained on home ownership to the detriment of other options that could well address the shelter needs of households who cannot own their properties early. Rental housing is as important as ownership in the sense of meeting sociological needs by protecting individuals and households from the elements, meeting civic needs by providing addresses, and adding to the fixed capital formation of the country. The government of the Republic of Ghana, in its efforts to increase access to safe, secure, and affordable rental housing for lower income households and the youth across the country, has developed a scheme known as the National Rental Assistance Scheme (NRAS) to, among other things, facilitate accessibility and affordability of rental housing by ridding Ghanaians, particularly the low to middle income households and the youth, from the unfair burden of multi-year rent advance payments. What the NRAS offers: the National Rental Assistance Scheme will provide and ensure eligible Kenyans with a mechanism to pay low monthly rent, which effectively removes the need for rent advance payment. What are the requirements? To be eligible for the scheme, the applicant must show proof of the following minimum requirements. 1. Must be a Ghanaian. 2. Must possess a valid Ghana card. Thirdly, must be an adult of 18 years and above. Again, must have verifiable employment and earned income, and also must have a verifiable bank statement or mobile money statement. And last but not the least, rent payable must not exceed 30% of the household income. The application process includes the following. The qualified person is expected to identify a property of their preference and notify the NRAS of same through a formal online application. The applicant must show proof of employment, that's 3 months pay slips, and a proof of income, 3 months bank statements or mobile money statement, 2 forms of IDs, and pay 100 Ghana Cedis application processing fee. In just 5 to 10 business days, the scheme will verify your application and supporting documents and determine your affordability or the affordability and the ability to pay back. After the applicant has been approved, the scheme will contact the chosen landlord, inspect the rental property, sign all tenancy documentations, and pay the rent advance directly to the landlord. The tenant takes possession of the rental property thereafter, and rent payment is always due on the first of each month. Coverage regions include the following. The initial implementation of the scheme will be carried out in the following regions. This is due to the fact that the underlisted regions have been identified to be predominant with rental accommodation challenges: Greater Accra, Ashanti region, Western region, Eastern region, Bono East, and the Northern region. Okay, so the National Rental Assistance Scheme Program took place at the International Conference Center, and I have the National Treasurer here, and I want to just seek her view on generally how she found the event. Madam, you're welcome to a platform. And generally, how did you see the whole event?
Okay, thank you. Event no is very nice. Na the nyam yebo nyame mpa yen say the omo aka kire so mbe ya ma yen no. Ebe ama obia na obia nya ne hye. Nti mpa ya na wo se ebo ma omo na nyame mo mo ahode no mu ntimi ma ade na omo ye na embra so. Na obia ntimi nya ne hye. Event na kama pa so. Ebe ya nyoma bebre because nya nipa nyina ne nya sika de rent dan. Nye nipa nyina nye sika de rent dan. Enti no se we ba ebe boa ye ama bi mu ho han o mu pa o mo ye adwuma no o mu ntimi nya sika ntua for 2 years and above no mu aboa o ma mo timi aye ho han o mu ama mo timi nya rent dan fan. Enti no ebe boa and ye bo nya me mpa ye se ebe to akoso a mfie bebre.
Madam, thank you so much for your time. Your name and please, how generally did you find this event?
Okay, I'm Helena Oluseje.
Okay.
I think the event itself was okay. The program, whatever brought us here, is a laudable idea. It seeks to give rental assistance to the youth, basically. Um, it's welcome because we all know the situation now. The youth most struggling with employment, and then they having to rent a house or an apartment and pay ridiculous amounts for 2 years. So if the government wants to take it up, it's welcome. We are hoping that indeed it gets to the people who really need it. And if it is rolled out well, I think it will be a relief to the youth and their parents and everyone around them. Yeah.
What do you think the future holds for the youth? And obviously, this scheme that has been launched, what do you think the future holds for the nation and especially for the youth with this scheme?
Well, I mean, the future with this, I think if someone is paying so much to have a place to sleep, and someone is going to take off that burden, a bit of it even, then the person is going to get a lot of relief. And we know how the country has turned into. We need the money. You need the financial escape. So yes, if it is going to be, if that burden is going to be taken off, it is going to help the youth, everyone who is going to benefit from it financially, and a lot of stresses will be reduced. And apart from that, I mean, the youth looking for money to invest in businesses, they will have a place to sleep, and then they will still invest in their businesses at the end of the day. Yeah. So it's a bright future
What's your
if
message?
it is rolled out well.
Exactly. Thank you so much, madam. What's your final message to the youth out there as we've launched this? What would be your general advice to the youth out there?
Okay, so with this, I think everyone should try to access it. Don't stay somewhere and say, okay, I don't know anybody there. If I go, once you hear it has been rolled out,
Okay.
just make your way wherever you should make your way.
This ends the report of the Ministry of Works and Housing launching of the National Rental Assistance Scheme, NRAS.
Thank you for watching Nation One TV. Kindly subscribe for more news updates.